everyone, it's Heather Klug, the registered dietitian from the Karen Yance Women's Cardiac Awareness Center. So it's July and raspberries are at their peak. They are in season and they're so delicious right now that I thought I would show you a super easy recipe that you can do at home using either fresh raspberries or even frozen raspberries. And also, because salads are in season, this works perfectly, okay? So this is a raspberry balsamic vinaigrette. Now, we'll have the recipe down below, so make sure you check out the show notes down there. And if you try this recipe out, let us know what you think of it. All right, so with this recipe, again, super easy. We have like 5 ingredients. This is just gonna take a couple minutes to make. So again, you can start with fresh or frozen raspberries. It's about a cup of them. I'm going to very carefully, because this is a little bit smaller container, I'm gonna put some of these in our little container. Now I'm using a high-powered blender, and this is like one of these single serving cups. Okay. So I'm going to get as many of those out as I can. Probably be good to use a spoon if you're serving this to other people. Okay, so we got our frozen raspberries. Then you're going to squeeze a fresh orange, and with this you can use like 2 to 3 tablespoons lemon juice. If you're not sure, if 3 is too much, maybe start out with 2. This was roughly 1 lemon that I squeezed to get that amount of juice. And then we're going to use balsamic vinegar. Now, the cool thing about this recipe is that you can use almost any kind of vinegar you want. White wine vinegar would be great with this. Red wine vinegar, you could use a champagne vinegar. Make it really fancy, but we're going to use some balsamic vinegar. And again, the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons, but if you're not sure about the vinegar, I love the taste of vinegar. I love the tartness, but with that, you can use a little bit less. Now we're going to add in a couple tablespoons of honey. And if you'd like, you can use regular sugar. You could use pure maple syrup with this. I haven't tried stevia with this yet, but I'm guessing you could use that. Just don't use the same amount. I would definitely start out with a much smaller amount with that, or you could use a little bit of honey and a little bit of stevia if you're trying to cut down on carbohydrates, or you can just use half as much of the honey. And then we're going to use a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, because that's a big part of a vinaigrette, right? Usually it's oil and vinegar. And then we're going to add just a little bit of salt, about 1/4 teaspoon. Again, here is where you could reduce the amount of salt. I think it's good to have a little bit of it just to kind of really bring out all the flavors, have everything meld together, but you could cut that in half or just add a dash. So I'm just going to put the lid on here, make sure it's nice and tight. And then this will just blend up, and this will take probably about less than a minute to do. There, that looks really good. All right. So isn't that color really pretty, everybody? Look, it's like a nice little pinkish sort of color. And then what you do with it after this is you can pour it if you have a nice, oh, if I can get this open, I put it on there pretty tight. So you could put this in a nice little serving container. I have a mason jar, so I'm going to put it in here for storage. See how nice and thick that is too? Again, this is where if you started out with less of, you know, the ingredients, the vinegar or the sugar or the salt, here's where you can taste test it a little bit. Just get out a little spoon or taste it with your finger and see if you need to adjust it at all. And this would go great if you're wondering what to do with this dressing. This would go really great, again, on a nice bed of salad greens. I could see some goat cheese on there, maybe some yellow bell pepper strips, and other kind of colorful vegetables. This dressing also goes great over grilled meats and chicken as well. So again, super easy recipe that you can make at home. Again, check out the recipe in the show notes. Let us know if you like this recipe. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.